Hello world and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be looking at a NuGet package helping simplify dependency registration through using attributes on classes instead of registering these in our Program.cs file. This has some added benefits in that the service lifetime is easily visible on top of a class instead of being hidden deep within our Program.cs, and it also simplifies the registration. Now this NuGet package is something I've made and released myself, but this is also something which recently has been integrated into some fairly big projects and is production ready. So if you are looking for an easy way to register classes in .NET, this video is for you. Let's first off take a look at a pretty typical Web API example project, registering services through Program.cs. As we can see, we've got services set up as transient, scoped, and singleton. And if we go through and check what they are, we can see we're returning what the service lifetime is and also a GUID. And in the controller, we're just making a call, and then we have a separate class which call those classes again to make sure that they are actually implemented as scoped, singleton, or transient, which we can see by the return of the GUIDs. So let's run this and take a look at what we're getting. So if we hit this API endpoint, we see a few things back. I'm hitting a class which is in a different project here. And then I've also got a singleton, scoped, and transient class which is returning these GUIDs. We can confirm that this is singleton because if we keep refreshing, the singleton one isn't changing, and the scoped is the exact same the first time we call it and the second time we call it, and transient is different both times. As expected. I'll have a future video explaining these different service lifetimes. Let's now get this NuGet package integrated into this project. We're going to go down to NuGet and we're going to search stacks.auto dependency injection registration, and I'm going to install it in both of these projects because I've got a class here which I want to register in this other project. Once that is installed, we can go to our Program.cs file and actually just delete all of these. What we're going to use is the extension method Auto Register Dependencies. Now this isn't going to do anything when we run it, and if we were to try run it right now and hit that endpoint which we had earlier, it's not going to work because we haven't actually yet registered any of the services. As mentioned earlier, we're going to do this through attributes on top of our classes. If we jump across to the documentation, we can see there are three attributes which we can use: register class as scoped, register class as transient, or register class as singleton. You're also able to use the base attribute register class, which will default to transient, but in this case we're just going to use the ones which explicitly say what they are, because that is also one of the added benefits of using this, is that you can look at a class and know how its service lifetime was registered. So to use this, I'm going to go to a transient service, and above it I'm just going to write register class as transient. I'm going to quickly do this for all the other ones I have in the solution. Sweet, now that I've added it to all of them, I'm going to rerun this. Now in your startup, you'll see some log messages saying what has been registered. If it has an interface, it will also include that, and the service lifetime it's been registered as. This is useful if you're trying to debug something or want to know what is actually being registered, considering it's a little bit more automatic compared to when you explicitly put it in your Program.cs. So let's go back to this endpoint we had and make sure that it's working, which it is, and we can verify that it's working as we expected because these singletons aren't staying, and the scoped is staying the same on the first and second call, and the transient is changing between the first and the second. Now this project does have a few safeguards. You can't, for example, add it to an interface. You can only add it to classes, and it will let you know that. So as mentioned before, an advantage is when you're working within a class that you can see as it's registered, and for some people that might actually be quite useful instead of it being buried away in an endless list of registrations in your Program.cs file. Now I've released this fully open source and anyone can download it from NuGet or with GitHub, and you can just go to the project website and you can look through any of the code to see how it works. If you end up using it in a project, let me know, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments.